So Diego, Superbooth 2018, with possibly the only modular case that fell out of a car on a motorway on the way here. Yeah. And it looks okay, whatever went on.
Yeah, well, it was not this one really, it was the one Elois have. It's a Grau case, and it's like extremely sturdy because it falls out from the car and
still works.
Still working, yeah.
That should be the tagline for the case.
Yeah.
So I can see nice new modules.
Yes, we are introducing 3 new modules here for Superbooth. 2 that will be released like in a couple of weeks, and 1 that will be for a little bit later, but it's working already. And they are like, this is a sequential switch, something between this and a sequencer. And this is a trigger generator. The burst is a trigger generator and processor with some distribution and some probability stuff. And finally the Kickall, that is a classic kick done from scratch, not a copy from any.
So it's not an 808 clone, it's not a 909, it's your own, the Befaco bass drum.
It's the patch I always make to make a kick with my synth, but compressed in a small module like that, in 6 HP.
So on the burst module, you mentioned distribution. Is that controlling the way the triggers are spread out?
It's a burst generator, so you have like a tap tempo. With this tap tempo, you generate a time window where you will put your burst inside, let's say, no? You can divide or multiply this time window for a factor, and then you have some distribution of these triggers inside of the burst. So if they are more together in the beginning, or if they are linearly distributed, or this kind of stuff. You have some probability, so when they are in loop, sometimes it's working, sometimes it's doing, and sometimes not. So when we design it, we have in mind to have it in a line of percussion and introduce some
fills, randomness, like rolls and ratchets.
Yeah, also because have this distribution, it's like you have some inertia, some acceleration.
Yeah.
So you can have some organic clocks. No, you can use it as a clock, but the clock will be like don't have to be linear. This clock can be more separate in the beginning or in the end, so you can have more
like ramps and
this kind of stuff. And then the Muxlicer is a module I really like because I was working with it like for more than a year. It's a true analog switch under digital control. So you have also tap tempo. You can divide and you can multiply the incoming clock. You have also another divider of the clock output. So you have 2 dividers and multipliers. 1 for the clock input and 1 for the clock output. Yeah? Then you have the normal play and the one-shot play. And one thing I like a lot also is you can address with CV. Via CV or manually you can just go to one step and keep repeating the gates there because the gate generator is also voltage control and can repeat each step. Also, it's not only a switch, the switch is normalized to a voltage, so it can work as a sequencer or as a normal switch. If I just put now I'm on the same step, but as far as you remove the CV, you begin to count. You see it's two gates per step because now here is 2 gates. It can be only 1, it can be more than 2. You can, with the address, you can just move to any step in a synchronous way. It only jumps on sync. Or you can just put any voltage on it and have some random button time jumpings.
Really controllable for how clocks are handled, like I said, division, multiplication, switching, sequencing.
Yeah, and you have also an end of cycle and a one-shot play, so you can link many together. You can have the end of cycle of one going to the one-shot plate of the next, and so on. So you can have 2 of them or 3 of them running and make a bigger sequencer.
Yeah, and build the switch or sequencer that you need.
Yeah. Also, it's very convenient if you want, when you make music, to have like a one sound that answers to other, and you have two sequencers running one
Like
after
call and
the other.
response, yeah.
They like, yeah. So
Let's take a listen to the kick as well.
and then the kick. The kick is that, as I told you before, it's like a classic way of making a kick, but not a clone, no? You have most of the parameters on the voltage control. You have decay, voltage control decay. On a fader, you have shape continuously changing from sine wave to a square wave, and you can via control change the shape. You have voltage control tune and accent input. You have most of the control under CV. Right now I'm triggering it with the Muxlicer itself.
So the fade between the sine and the square almost seems like a kind of clipping distortion as you move across.
It's a wave shaper and a distortion, let's say.
Yeah.
That shapes from all the way from the sine to more rave style kicks.
So roughly when can we expect the modules to be released?
This in a couple of weeks is the idea, and this will be a little bit later in a couple of modes, let's say. Yeah.
And roughly how much are these going to cost? Rough retail price?
We will keep this around the 200 target,
Okay.
and the bar generator 100 something in assemble.
Okay.
Less than 100, not-
Will these be DIY kits as well?
Yeah, of course, DIY.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. And I'm glad the case survived falling out of the car on the motorway.
Shit happens.